The goal of war is simple: to win. But finding a way to win has pushed many countries to develop weapons, vehicles, and gadgets that look beyond badass. With that, it's time to gear up and move out as we take a look at some of the most insane military technology and vehicles in the world. Before we begin, let me give a shout out to this video's sponsor, Conflict of Nations. This amazing military-themed online PvP strategy game is available for free on PC and mobile and puts you in the driving seat of any military in the world. Lead your country in modern global warfare against up to 128 other players in real-time games, using as many different units as you want to build up your own army. And the best part about it is that games can last anywhere from an hour to a day to weeks as each player fights to outwit and outmaneuver their opponents. Declare war, forge alliances, and choose your own strategy to achieve global domination. And if you click the link in the description below, you'll receive an exclusive gift of 13,000 gold and 1 month of premium subscription for free. Alright, now that we're all fired up, shall we begin? Tactical Tech. At 56 inches long, 18 inches tall, and 8 inches wide, this is one pretty big and pretty intimidating gun. Although at just 16 pounds, it isn't loaded with bullets. It's loaded with batteries, 14.4-volt lithium batteries to be precise. This is the Drone Gun Tactical from Drone Shield, a counter-drone weapon used by military units all over the world. In recent years, drones, both military and commercial, have started posing huge security risks to almost every country on the map. Like in 2018 when the president of Venezuela narrowly survived an attack by 2 drones carrying explosives in an apparent assassination attempt. Drone Gun Tactical was designed to help eliminate that threat. Using radio frequency jamming to disrupt operator links, it can drop drones over 1.5 miles away. All an operator needs to do is maintain a line of sight and squeeze the trigger. The frequencies immediately block the video signal of the drone and force it to land or return to its starting point. The guns have been used during high-profile events such as 2019 South Asia Games. Here, they took down 7 commercial drones, 4 of which were suspiciously lining the flight path of the Philippines president's helicopter without incident. I'd say this plan crashed and burned, but thanks to the drone gun, it just landed safely and failed. Brilliant Bazooka. Now, not all anti-drone weapons rely on frequency jammers. The Skywall 100, designed by British company OpenWorks, is another drone defense solution, although this one gets more physical with the drones at hand. The shoulder-mounted compressed gas gun weighs in at roughly 22 pounds, but this bazooka ain't packing batteries. Once the smart scope has locked onto the target's range and the trigger is squeezed, it launches a projectile carrying a net. This wraps around the drone and prevents its blades from working. As it drops out of the sky, a tiny parachute attached to the net deploys, ensuring the drones won't plummet to the ground, which would be a big problem in crowded areas. Unlike the drone gun, this means the drone doesn't have a chance to return to its starting point and can be taken away for forensic investigation. The Skywall 100 can also be rapidly reloaded, meaning a single operator can take down multiple targets in a matter of minutes. No wonder they call it a Skywall. IRL AIMBOT. Out in the field, military snipers are often faced with some of the most difficult working conditions. If it's windy, dusty, or if their target just won't stay still, it can be impossible to get a good shot. But in 2014, the United States Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, or DARPA for short, presented snipers with a game changer: self-guided sniper bullets. The Extreme Accuracy Tasked Ordnance Program, aka Exacto, uses specially designed ammunition with a real-time optical guidance system. This directs the bullet to the target by compensating for most of the conditional elements, like wind and poor visibility. It even works if the user barely has any experience with a sniper rifle. You can see that even when the rifle user is untrained, the .50 caliber bullet still hits the target even when it moves. Intriguingly, the test program ended in 2015, and any further developments of the tech have been kept under wraps. But in 2016, Russia came forward with its own version of the smart bullet, claiming it could hit targets more than 6 miles away. And here was me thinking aimbots only existed in video games. Tank boat. You can usually look at a vehicle and guess pretty accurately what it does. But that might be tricky for this thing. Is it a tank? Is it a boat? A nuclear-powered sandcastle destroyer? Well, it's actually the U.S. Marine Corps' Ultra-Heavy Lift Amphibious Connector, a prototype amphibious vehicle designed to dock almost anywhere. Although this is just a half-scale prototype, the final vehicle is projected to be 84 feet long, 34 feet high, and will be able to carry up to 190 tons of cargo, or 3 main battle tanks. The tracks are made of captured air foam blocks, which extend like flippers to propel the craft through the water at a top speed of 20 knots, or roughly 23 miles per hour. When this behemoth hits the beach, the foam flattens, transforming into tracks like those on a tank or a bulldozer, only softer. This means it won't just be capable of hitting the beach, it'll also be able to maneuver inland over difficult terrain such as marshes, mud, and will even be able to conquer obstacles 10 feet high. While this incredible concept was unveiled in 2014, there's been no word on its development since. Maybe they're making a stealth version of this thing? Although, seeing how bizarre it looks, I don't think there's any way this thing could drive or swim under the radar. The MINESWEEPER. Tanks are arguably the most essential battlefield vehicles when it comes to smashing through enemy lines and allowing infantry to advance. But one of their little-known cousin vehicles, the M1150 Assault Breacher, is just as important. This heavily armored 65-ton combat vehicle is based on the M1 Abrams tank chassis. But unlike a regular tank, this vehicle is equipped with a mine plow and line charges. These are features specially designed to help rid paths and roads of hidden bombs and landmines, so that troops and vehicles can pass through safely. To do this, first, the M1150 uses a line charge. These are rockets that carry a string of explosives up to 500 feet forward, which are then detonated, discharging any mines hidden in the ground. Then the vehicle moves forward with the 15-foot-long mine plow. This lifts and clears any remaining explosives out of the ground, pushing them out to the side and away from the vehicles about to come through. The ski arms reaching out of the front guide different sections of the plow, ensuring it's at a constant depth of 14 inches, so as not to shunt too deeply into the terrain and get the vehicle stuck. With so much specialized equipment, each of these vehicles costs a staggering $3.7 million. Well, I'm sure the military would rather see a sky-high price over a sky-high battalion. Tireless tires. There's nothing worse than getting a flat tire. But could you imagine getting a flat in the middle of an active war zone? Like changing a tire wasn't hard enough without bullets and shrapnel whipping past your head. Well, thankfully, many military vehicles around the world use run-flat tires, pneumatic tires that have a solid donut-like insert in the middle. This means if the outer tube is punctured, the tire won't go flat or need to be replaced immediately. That's pretty ingenious, but the vehicle can only travel up to 60 or so miles at reduced speed before the run flat wears down. So while it's good, it's not perfect. However, the US military has something in the works that'll do away with tire air pressure entirely. Say hello to the non-pneumatic tire. designed by the aptly named Resilient Technologies. Using a polymeric web in a honeycomb structure between the tread band and the rim, the wheel conforms around objects, similar to an air-filled tire, while being completely puncture-resistant. This means vehicles sporting them can handle shrapnel, rough conditions, and difficult terrain without the fear of getting a flat and being left stranded. The Pentagon released the potential of this technology back in 2008 and granted Resilient $18 million in funding in the hopes they'd create a tire the U.S. military could use. But it hasn't been a quick or smooth ride. After more than 12 years of testing, Resilient's tire is still in the prototype phase, but they're moving in the right direction to bring these wheels to the U.S. military en masse. Man, future military vehicles are going to look a whole lot cooler. Corner COPIA. In urban combat, there's nothing riskier than sticking your head out from a corner, like over a wall or around a corner, to try and see where your enemies are. If only there was a way to shoot around corners like this. Well, thanks to an innovative lieutenant colonel from the Israeli Defense Forces, now there is. This is the corner shot. It's a mechanism that mounts a semi-automatic pistol or grenade launcher at the front, which remotely links to a trigger on the back end. This allows the front section to rotate up to 60 degrees left and right around corners, while a digital camera feeds to the user a view of what lies around the bend. This means users can fire the weapon and hit a target up to 650 feet away, all from the safety of complete cover. But it's not the only one of its kind. In 2015, Zen Technologies unveiled the Shoot Edge, which was funded by India's Defense Research and Development Organization. It works on the same premise as the corner shot, but the design allows the front to swivel up to 65 degrees in both directions. Both models provide a device that special forces can use in urban combat environments, such as hostage situations, without putting themselves in unnecessary danger. I don't envy the bad guys who find themselves around the corner from soldiers wielding this thing. The PHASR. As chaotic as war can be, you might be surprised to learn that it actually has a few rules. Back in 1995, the United Nations issued a protocol banning the use of laser weapons designed to permanently blind or diminish someone's sight. After that, most UN countries decided to drop research into laser blinding weapon technology. But not the US. Back in 2006 at Kirkland Air Force Base, the U.S. Department of Defense developed this prototype weapon, which looks like something straight out of Star Trek. And considering it's called the Personal Halting and Simulation Response, or PHASR for short, it sounds like it too. It's a non-lethal laser dazzler which uses both a low-intensity laser and a two-wavelength laser to temporarily disorient and blind a target. It just about skirts the UN's ruling on laser weapons, although since it was developed in 2006, it hasn't become standard issue. However, in 2021, the US Navy did announce its plans to develop a compact, transportable, high-energy laser weapon system. It's not going to be used on humans, though. It'll be designed to tackle drones and other unmanned aerial vehicles. Considering they're pumping a huge $18.7 million into this development, I wonder what they're going to look like. Will they be rifle-sized phasers or weapons small enough to fit in your pocket? What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. The Fire Scout. Now, I'm no aerospace engineer, but if you asked me whether a helicopter needs a windshield the pilot could see through, I'd say yes. Which is why watching this thing take off from a moving platform with its windscreen blacked out seems absolutely insane. Don't worry though, the pilot can see just fine, because he's not actually inside the aircraft. This is the Northrop Grumman MQ-8 Fire Scout series, a completely unmanned helicopter designed to provide reconnaissance, situational awareness, aerial fire support, and precision targeting for ground, air, and sea forces. Able to stay in the air for up to 12 hours, with a maximum payload capacity of some 700 pounds. It's like a larger and more capable drone. Along with an autonomous flight control system, the converted copter has an integrated series of advanced sensors which generate full-motion video in both day and low-light conditions. Not only that, but in 2021, they were adapted to deploy ultrasonic sonobuoys into the sea. These little devices use sound energy to detect enemy ships, submarines, and even mines in the water, before sending the data back to the Fire Scout, which is then relayed to a manned unit. This method keeps the pilots and the crew of nearby ships out of harm's way while providing detailed developments in waters up to 100 miles away. Man, is there anything this machine can't do? Canine vision. While militaries around the world rely heavily on intimidating tech to get the edge on the enemy, many also use something furrier. Service dogs have been used in military operations all over the world since the late 19th century, with jobs ranging from messengers, explosive detection, and attack forces. And as military tech for humans has evolved, it has for the dogs as well, thanks to the French innovation of the Canine Vision System, also known as Rex Specs. These are goggles with an attached collar that contain a specially designed canine camera system. The camera is located at the top of the goggles, which captures everything the dog sees, before transmitting the footage wirelessly to a nearby handler. This allows units to assess a situation before sending their soldiers in, while able to keep constant tabs on their faithful hounds. With the mask weighing just 140 grams and the collar 200 grams, the entire set is so light it doesn't impair the dog's performance. The device is also waterproof, the camera has infrared abilities, and the goggles include a mounted torch. It even has a radio speaker system to deliver commands to the dog, and potentially any nearby targets. If I had access to one of these, I'd definitely pretend the dog could talk.
Get on the ground. Keep your hands where I can see them. All right, now, give me a treat, human.
The Ghost Tank. There's something about adding ghost to a name that makes things sound all the more terrifying. Ghost Pepper, Ghost Light, Ghost Tank. Hang on, Ghost Tank? That can't be real, right? Well, over in the Swedish military, it very much is. The CV90120T Ghost is a battle tank that uses a unique camouflage method to get the drop on its opponents. The base CV90120 tank was redesigned back in the 1990s when engineers attempted to create a lightweight fire support vehicle with the firepower of a main battle tank. This meant the CV90120 weighed in at just 21 tons with a 120mm gun. For contrast, most modern tanks with guns that size weigh between 40 and 60 tons. They stripped everything from it, including its thick armor. So, BAE Systems came up with an ingenious prototype protection to keep the tank safe without adding weight. Adaptive, a thermal camouflage system. Individual modules honeycomb the flanks of the tank, which are made of elements that can be cooled or heated up very quickly, as well as controlled individually via electronic programming. This allows different patterns to be created, disguising the tank's heat signature from the enemy, like here, where it happens to be the shape of an ordinary car. It can imitate other shapes as well, like that of a truck or even a moose. Man, if Sweden ever becomes a battleground, invading forces are going to think this country has a lot of armored moose. The Mothercraft. When it comes to military vehicles of superior size, Mother Russia doesn't mess around, which is proven by the existence of the gigantic Zuber-class hovercraft. Even though they were built in the Soviet Union at the end of the Cold War, Just as the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, these brilliant behemoths have stood the test of time and are still used by the Russian, Greek, and Chinese Navy forces today. The amphibious vehicle uses air cushion technology powered by 5 gas turbine engines, which each generate a whopping 12,100 horsepower. These make it capable of skirting over 300 miles of waves at a top speed of 63 miles per hour. The air cushion also allows the Zuber to glide over solid ground, so it can carry its payload right up to the shore. Although, at 187 feet long and 84 feet wide, this beast doesn't land on the shore so much as engulf it. With a normal load, the craft weighs in at 415 tons and can carry up to 10 armored personnel carriers, 3 main battle tanks, 360 Marines, or some incredible combination of all 3. If that's a normal load, imagine what a heavy load looks like. I reckon this thing could drag Godzilla back out to sea. Not only that, but Russia has 2 of these incredible craft, each sporting 2 surface-to-air missiles, Gatling guns, and rocket launchers. Man, if I were Godzilla, I'd just stay at the bottom of the ocean forever. Mega MAT deployment. As amazing as many military land vehicles are, a lot of them wouldn't be much without a road. And it's here that the German military's Falstra Bengrad, or FSG for short, rolls in. Translated, this literally means folding road device, which is a pretty perfect description of its job. The 8x8 vehicle carries a mat made of tessellated aluminum plates, which weigh more than 9 tons altogether. Using a folding line and pulley system, the mat is laid out over difficult terrain like mud or bog. It takes the FSG around 10 minutes to lay almost 165 feet of the mat, which, at almost 14 feet wide, can accommodate even the girthiest of machines. Being made of aluminum, the mat is durable enough to support vehicles weighing up to 70 tons, while lightweight enough to be reeled back into the truck mechanically in almost no time. It's so versatile it can even be laid into water up to 4 feet deep, allowing boats to unload vehicles on shores without fear of them getting stuck in the mud. Now that's how you roll out the welcome mat. Taking to the skies. In 2020, the U.S. Air Force made a shocking claim. By 2023, it was going to start fielding the use of flying cars. Well, they didn't call them flying cars, they called them ORBs, Organic Resupply Buses. This specifically referred to Joby Aviation's S4, a hybrid vehicle combining a car-like chassis with 6 rotors, which can carry up to 5 people. With vertical takeoff and landing capabilities, once it's in the air, it can travel at a top speed of 200 miles per hour with a 150-mile range. But here's the best part. It's apparently 100 times quieter than a helicopter, and the military can't wait to get their hands on them, because they have huge potential for missions involving medical evacuation, firefighting, disaster response, and humanitarian relief operations. But this isn't the only flying car on the U.S. military's radar. Because they have such incredible military potential, the U.S. has been funding research into a wide variety of models to fit different missions. These include smaller, one-man vehicles, like the lift aircraft Hexa. Thanks to the 5 floats at its base and 18 independent electric motors and propellers on top, this flying pod can vertically take off from the water as well as land, perfect for search and rescue missions. But the U.S. military has also looked into some more, bizarre designs, such as conceptual Humvee copters that can conduct night raids or whisk injured soldiers away from the battlefield. That might be the most American thing I've ever seen. Looks like the sky really is the limit for this military endeavor. The flying Jeep. If the idea of flying Humvees blew your mind, then you're gonna love this next vehicle. The amazingly named Black Knight Transformer from Advanced Tactics. Anyone else think it sounds like Christopher Nolan and Michael Bay made a movie together? In development since 2010, this is a proof-of-concept vehicle for a multi-purpose hybrid car/aircraft. It combines 8 powerful engines with rotors, providing this 4,400-pound chassis with enough thrust to fly up to 10,000 feet in the air. But it's not just good in the sky. According to its specifications, as a land vehicle, it'll also be able to hit a top speed of 70 miles per hour. But why would the US military fund research for a vehicle that's bulky yet weirdly versatile like this? Well, there are a few reasons. For a start, at 31 feet long and 19 feet wide, it'd have plenty of room inside. So it'd be perfect for cargo drops in hard-to-reach areas. And with all that space, it could also perform easy casualty evacuations in areas of active warfare. By landing in a safe zone away from enemy fire, and then driving to the evac site, the injured soldier doesn't have to be carried, reducing danger to other soldiers. It's a very neat prototype, but it's one that's currently cost $2 million to build. Man, I dread to think how much the finished version will eventually cost. Human 2.0. A lot of us would give just about anything to own an Iron Man suit. While we're light years away from anything as technologically sophisticated as that, the military does have access to the next best thing. This is the Guardian XO, a full-body, battery-powered exoskeleton which augments the operator's strength. With a maximum payload of 200 pounds, an operator wearing this incredibly cool power suit can lift 100 pounds with a single hand. This kind of power assist can help ensure soldiers aren't injured doing mundane tasks and can save their strength for duties that really matter. But while the Guardian XO looks pretty snazzy, it wasn't always this sleek. Sarcos, the company behind Guardian XO, worked under defense contractor Raytheon over 10 years ago, producing the XOS exoskeleton suit. Like the Guardian, this early suit also augmented the wearer's lift capacity to lift up to 200 pounds, and could even punch through 3 inches of wood. It achieved this by using an array of sensors to collect data through the exoskeleton. The sensors fed data into a computer, which determined how the suit should move. Then those instructions were sent to a series of valves that controlled the flow of hydraulic fluid in the joints. The fluid moved a series of cylinder actuators, which then moved cables attached to them, like tendons pulling on the robotic limbs. The main drawback was that it needed to be attached to a main power source in order to work, so it had limited applications in busy environments. Still, being able to do endless push-ups with this thing on has to count for something, right? Before I go, I want to say thank you to our sponsor, Conflict of Nations, for making this video possible. If you want to help support the channel, be sure to hit the link in the description below to download this insanely fun PvP military strategy game. And you only have 30 days to claim your unique starter pack gift, so don't miss out. Which of these military technologies and vehicles do you think is the most amazing? Let me know down in the comments, and thanks for watching.